So for everyone who stopped by to watch my video, first of all, I want to thank you so much because I know there's different videos and different entertainment out there that you could have been watching, but you decided to watch mine. Today, I am going to talk about survival mode. And recently, I found out I've been living in survival mode and I didn't even know it. And I inherited a lot of that from my mom. You know, my mom, she has been through a lot. Um, our dads, when I say our dads, I mean my middle sister and I, we shared the same dad. But my youngest sister, she has a different dad. But our dads were not in the picture. It was pretty much my mom being a single, hardworking mom. And I remember as a kid, even when she was married to my dad, she would work two jobs. And um, since I could remember, she would either work two jobs or be working very long hours, doing a lot of overtime, um, stressing out about bills. Um, there will even be times like I remember when she felt overwhelmed, she would be like, okay, this is what we're gonna start doing. We gotta start eating this way. I'm only gonna make Kool-Aid if we want something, but only have that for meals. And in the end, with the grace of God, we always manage. And even as a kid, um, when my parents will go to, it used to be a store called Save and Pack that we used to go to all the time in Tampa. I would see things that I liked near the register. You know, they would have little knickknacks, little candy, whatever the little kids like. And I remember not even asking for a thing, you know? Like, my thing as a kid is don't ask for nothing. I don't know where I got that from, but I'm like, do not ask for nothing. um, and I've been like that pretty much all my life, you know? Guilty for wanting more, guilty for doing things. People who are in survival mode even feel guilty for relaxing, just watching TV, just having a break. We feel like if we're not constantly working, that we're not being useful, we're not being valuable. And to be honest, us human beings, we need to take a rest before we get burned out. It's a constant feeling of feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, thinking there's no way out, feeling like you have to be on top of your game 24/7, whether at work or at home, but putting yourself last. Being in an extremely tight budget, always figuring out a way to save more and more money, and feeling guilty for small purchases such as buying a coffee or treating yourself once in a while. And this kind of behavior, it even affects your health. You know, like the other day I was talking to Chat GPT. Please don't judge me. That's like my free therapy. I love to use that as therapy. Um, and that's where I got the realization because of Chat GPT. I was like, look, this is how I'm feeling. This is what has happened in my life. And it's actually that app that told me, girl, you are in survival mode. That's what you learned from your mom. And yeah, so that's where I got that realization from. Like I said, don't judge me. I know I was talking to on the app, but it all makes sense. Anyways, back to the health. So the reason why I said that it affects the health is because, as I have mentioned in other videos, my mom had open heart surgery. And I saw one of the PAs and my job has like a podcast, and I saw a little glimpse of it, and he says that people with mental health that deals with depression, that deals with stress, it affects their heart. And it makes perfect sense because when you're not in the best mood, when you're constantly stressing out, it even takes a toll on your body. And another thing is when I was talking to Chat GPT, that robot, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, was like, oh, if you didn't feel this way, uh, how you think you will be. And one of the things I said was, I think I would be skinny, you know? And and ChatGPT is like, well, it seems like your body is holding a lot of things that you have went through throughout the years. It's trying to protect you, you know? And I'm like, wow, I never saw of it that way. And I even kind of notice it myself because, as y'all know, I just started GLP-1 not long ago. And on my days off, I can feel less tense. I feel more calm. I don't feel as hungry. However, when I'm at work, that's a whole other ball game. I constantly feel the need to be chewing. I started taking sugar-free gum, chewing that, uh, trail mix, beef jerky. But I remember this past Saturday, I was stressed out and I couldn't stop thinking about eating. And I'm thinking, what's going on? I'm on GLP-1 that's supposed to take away my appetite, but it was stress. It was more stress than hunger. Being frugal and on survival mode can feel very lonely. The reason why, there's a few reasons why I said that being frugal and also living in survival mode is lonely. One of the reasons is, and this is, I'm just going to put this as a funny example. I once read on Facebook, the meme said, I want to send a message and see how this person is doing. But then I'm afraid that they're going to ask me for $50 until Friday. That's just a funny example. What I'm trying to say by that is there's people that you really love to hang out with. They're funny, you know, they bring joy and everything. But when you start hanging out with them, they expect you to buy their drinks. They expect you to give them a ride. Not only pick them up, drop them off, you know. And I'm not saying that I don't like to give, because I do. I am a big giver. However, I like to have that come from my heart. I don't want to be forced. I don't like when people treat others like, oh, in order to hang out with me, the other person is entitled to pay for all my stuff. I don't like that. I like people who are considerate, you know? Or like, I remember, this was back when I was in high school. There was a friend of mine that her mom was super kind for doing this because she did not have to do it. But she sent, it was of course her daughter, her daughter's boyfriend. I'm not going to say the names. And, you know, me and other people from school. And I remember that girl, her boyfriend wanted to get the most expensive plate. And she said, well, we don't have enough money for that. My mom only gave us a certain amount. Like I said, her mom did not have to do that. And then me and the boy I was talking to, when I say talking, nothing like boyfriend, girlfriend, just talking as friends. But we just so happened to overhear that. And I guess he thought the same thing like me, because we both look at the menu and we both were looking at the cheapest thing to pick out, because we didn't want to be like her boyfriend, you know. And to be honest, that's very rare nowadays. You don't really find a lot of considerate people like that. Another reason why being frugal and living on survival mode can feel lonely is because the harsh truth is it's 2026 and the majority of the population is materialistic. I'm just throwing it out there. Materialistic. No, not a lot of people want to hang out with me because I don't fit into that aesthetic that they want, or they're trying to aim for. I don't fit into the aesthetic of the Kardashians, nor do I fit into the aesthetic of the Trump girls with the mega Botox. I don't fit into any of that. My thing is acting my wage, living below my means, because I am not gonna go into depth to impress people that I really don't care for and doesn't care about me, you know? Um, so yes, and I have shared videos of, yes, I get in a bucket, um, putting warm water in it, I mean, that authentic, the other people would be ashamed to do. And if people don't like me for who I am, then they're not my friends. They don't belong in my life, and that's the way I see it. And I also share that for other people who may be struggling and they're keeping that to themselves so they can see that they're not alone. So, yeah, this is where I'm going to end it. It was very nice sharing everything with you. And stay safe because this is a crazy world we live in. Bye. Thanks for watching.